edition of GamePro TV. In this week's show, we'll enter the ring with some of the greatest fighters of all time in EA Sports Knockout Kings. We'll give you a few tips on how to get through the Legend of Zelda. Just because the NBA is on hold doesn't mean you have to be. Hit the court with NBA Live 99.
Welcome to another jam-packed edition of GamePro TV. I'm your host, Michael Commissar. Well, the holiday season is definitely in full swing. With the release of so many great games this year, it could be a record year in sales for the video game industry. Early this fall, we were behind the scenes with Oscar De La Hoya and Sugar Ray Leonard to give you a preview of EA Sports Knockout Kings. Well, just in time for the holiday season, this boxing title's ready to duke it out with the competition. Let's see if it deserves to be on your Christmas list.
A decent boxing simulation game for the Sony PlayStation is long overdue. Well, the folks over at EA Sports hope that Knockout Kings will fill that void. There are 38 boxers to choose from in this title. Some of the biggest boxers to ever step into the ring are at your disposal. Muhammad Ali, Evander Holyfield, Ray Mancini, Oscar De La Hoya, even Butterbean made the roll call. The incredible list of fighters is Knockout King's strong points. At the same time, it could be the game's back as well. The fact that there are so many recognizable fighters in the game is pretty cool, but it leaves the door wide open for debate about questionable omissions. Rocky Marciano and Pernell Whitaker are great, but the absence of Joe Frazier and George Foreman leave Ali without many sparring partners. And the same goes for Evander Holyfield, who has to manage somehow without his archenemy, Mike Tyson. The game is broken down like real boxing, into 3 weight classes: lightweight, middleweight, and heavyweight. But the weight classes aren't barriers for one-on-one grudge matches. Any fighter in the game can go between the ropes with any other fighter, regardless of weight division. One of the more interesting modes in this game is the career mode. In this mode, you create your own fighter and take him through a complete boxing season. Along the way, you fight a bunch of no-name boxers until you reach the championship bout, which takes place at Madison Square Garden. That's when you'll encounter your first real boxer. The career mode is pretty cool, but way too easy. Just like most games from EA Sports, the level of difficulty could use a little work. Most of your fights will be done before the end of the 6th round. Even when you fight for the belt against a real opponent, you'll find it's a piece of cake. Another negative about the career mode is that you can only play as a fictional fighter. You can't, for example, manage the career of Sugar Ray Leonard. This is a major disappointment. The graphics in Knockout King could use some tweaking as well. The animations and punches are pretty quick, but the fighters themselves look foxy and sluggish. It's not a major flaw, but noticeable. Overall, Knockout Kings is a game worth renting at the very least. If you're a casual boxing fan and looking for a new game to play with a bunch of your friends, this title will probably do the trick. If you're a serious boxing sim fan, you don't really have much to choose from on the market. Knockout Kings has its flaws, but you probably will still find it enjoyable.
Well, let's move from one knockout game to another. With its unrivaled graphic look and uncanny gameplay, The Legend of Zelda for the Nintendo 64 is making its mark on video game history. Last week we gave you our review of this great title. This week we'll give you a few tips to make the game a little easier in our Swap Pro segment.
Consider yourself one of the lucky ones. If you own Zelda 64, you beat out a bunch of people who are still searching for a copy. Now, if you can only get past the first level, the game starts with Link at his home in the Kokiri Forest, but the adventure starts outside the forest. Before our hero can get started, he's got to get his gear in order. The 2 items Link needs before he can leave the forest are his sword and his shield. The shield can be purchased at the Kokiri shop on the other side of the forest. But, unfortunately, you need 40 rupees to make the purchase. Don't worry, though. There are more than enough rupees lying around the forest to get you going. You'll find rupees in tall grass, in boulders, or in treasure chests. The next item of interest is the sword. Go to the forest training center and crawl into this hole. Once you reach the other side, make a left, but be sure to watch out for the giant rolling boulders heading your way. Then make a right and you'll find a treasure chest. Open it, and you'll be ready for battle. Now you can cut down more grass to get more rupees. Once outside the forest, you'll head to the Deku tree. Once inside, grab as many Deku sticks as possible. They'll come in handy later. Also, stock up on Deku nuts, because you'll need them as well. You'll encounter a number of other items inside the tree as well, that you can put in your inventory for future use. One thing to keep in mind, whenever you come across spider webs, look for torches nearby. Use torches to ignite your Deku sticks. Now you can use those sticks to burn those webs down to the ground. The inside of the Deku tree is enormous, and we aren't going to tell you how to get through it step by step, because heck, that would take the whole show. But we will tell you how to get past these guys. There are 3 bush guys blocking the entrance to the main boss. Beating them is pretty easy. Just use your shield to block the seeds that they spit at you and let them ricochet back. Once the seed hits the bush creature, they'll be out of commission, and you can move on to the next one. The trick, though, is to attack them in a specific order. Go for the one in the middle first, then the one on your right. Now you can take care of the one on the far left. Once you're done with this little guy, it's off to face his boss. Every boss in this game has a weakness, and this gigantic spider is no exception. This is when you'll need to use your Deku nuts. Throw them to the ground to stun the spider, and then while he's in a daze, use your sword to go after his gigantic eye. It'll take a few times before you put an end to this web crawler, but it'll be worth your while. Now Link will receive what amounts to a power-up and be ready for more challenges. These tips should keep you busy for a little while at least. Check out further episodes of GamePro TV for more tips on how to progress through this massive game. Don't go away. As we come back, take off in a whacked-out adventure in Oddworld. Abe's Exit.